Great morning. What's up, you guys? Welcome to Triple M Monday Morning Motivation. I'm going to be your host. With these little ones in the background, they're playing. They're starting to get used to each other. That's our pups, Toby and Prezi also. But welcome to the call, you guys. Triple M Monday Morning Motivation. With always our intention of being starting the week off strong, starting off motivated, starting off together. So we got everybody on the live call and watching the recording. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be listening to a video by a lady named Nichols. She's an amazing author, motivational speaker, and life coach. And she's also got an amazing health result recently. I didn't even recognize her because she had some videos from before, and then I seen some newer videos, and she looks completely different. So she has an amazing health result too, and really transformed herself. So today we're going to be listening to her top 10 rules for success. Make sure to take your notes, because we're going to have some live shares on the call. And then if you're on the chat and you can't talk, put it in the chat bar because we'd love to hear your insight, because everybody's insight matters. And we're going to keep these little ones under control. Let's get it. Without further ado, let's bring on Nichols. Here we go. Back.
Now, I'm an average, ordinary mom who said, I want to drastically transform my son's future. The power of I am can pull you through the dark life, and I wasn't supposed to be who I am today.
She's an author, life coach, and motivational speaker. She's the founder and CEO of Motivating the Masses. She's also a best-selling author of 6 books. She's Nichols, and here are her top 10 rules for success.
I struggled all through school. The last time I took English class, I got a fail. And my English teacher said I was the weakest writer she ever met in her entire life. The last time I took a speech class, same year, I got a D- in speech, and my speech teacher said, Lisa, quote unquote, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. So that was the beginning of my life. That was my 19-year-old experience. And then I go on and I'm trying to figure it out. I was obedient. I went and got a job in accounting. I was in the collection department for 7 years. Y'all don't know I'm dangerous to accounting. I'm just dangerous. And I'm in collections, and you know, you should never put a broke person in collections. Never, because everybody's reasons sound good to me. I know it sounds funny, but it was real. Not only did I say, girl, don't you worry about paying that, I'm gonna take your name off the list. Somebody went to jail because I was in I got fired from 5 different jobs. Yeah. And then I got pregnant with my son unexpectedly. And then at 8 months, my son's father went to prison. I had to get on government's assistance to have my baby. I was on WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, to feed my child. And when my son was 8 months old, I went to the ATM to get $20 out the bank because I didn't have any Pampers for him. And in order to get $20 out, you got that $20 in. I had $11.42. And I still can't tell the story without getting emotional because it's my story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For 2 days, I had to wrap my son in a towel. But something happened, Steve, in those 2 days. I was at rock bottom. I was broke, and I was broken. Inglewood, California. My son laying on his back at 8 months. I have a towel over him, and I have my hand on his stomach saying, don't you worry, Jaylani. Mommy will never be this broke again. And I made a decision. I was bankrupt. And every stinking thinking I had, I was bankrupt and trying to protect my pride. I was bankrupt and trying to be all that in a bag of chips and a bowl of grits, falsified. Mm-hmm. I was bankrupt and trying to not ask anyone for help. I was bankrupt in everything that was holding me and keeping me where I was. Mm-hmm. I've always talked a good game, but I wasn't doing anything with my gift. Mm-hmm. And all that thing about potential, I was tired of having potential. I wanted to have my now. And I looked at that baby at 8 months and I said, I want to transform your life. Because you didn't ask to come into this chaos.
Come on.
As an African-American male child in South Central Los Angeles with a single mother whose father's in prison, he had a 66% chance of going to prison himself. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So if I have to be willing to drastically transform myself so that I can become the woman that I know I can be.
Right.
And that's what I began to do. I was radical.
What did you do, Lisa? What did you do to change your life?
First, I realized I couldn't grow with people who were struggling like me. That whole I don't want to leave nobody behind. No, I don't want to stay with y'all.
Right.
You don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the queen of this block.
Yeah.
And I became okay with the fact that it doesn't make me any less committed to my community, committed to my culture, committed to my family. The best thing I can do for you is not stay here with you.
That's right.
When I've got that, I went to places I'd never seen before. I went to conferences where people were talking about money, talking about prosperity, talking about, it was like, no habla español. What y'all talking about? ROIs and PPMs and term agreements and capital fundraising and bottom lines and what is it? I'm going to stay until I learn what you're talking about. I went to the same conference 42 times. And there I raised $532,000 in capital for my company to start my dream. And my dream was to transform teen lives. I want to teach teens how to fall madly in love with themselves and how to make integrity-based decisions. And I got it funded, and I started working. And that was the beginning of me rescuing myself. I realized that I am my rescue. No one else is my rescue. I am my rescue.
So I was hungry. Like, I was hungry. People often want to call me the exception. Like, oh my God, you're the exception. No, I'm not the exception. I'm an average, ordinary woman who chose every day to make one more extraordinary decision. I'm an average, ordinary mom who said, I want to drastically transform my son's future. That he deserves to have every option that every other child would have, irregardless of what he was born into. I just was crazy enough to believe that. That it doesn't matter the color of my skin, doesn't matter my religious background, doesn't matter my origin, it doesn't matter my mom's bank account and my dad's bank account when I was born. None of that means my future. That's just the circumstance that I came from. That's not what defines my future. I just believe that. Not a lot validated it, but faith is believing in the unseen anyway. So I had enough faith to go, I know like I know like I know like I know. I don't necessarily have to see it yet.
Christy talked about affirmations. Abundant thinkers understand the power of I am. Anything after the word I am is true to your unconscious mind, Michael. Anything. Anything after I am. Anything. Anything after I am. Even if you know it's not true, your conscious mind will believe it. Anything after I am. So the use of affirmations is very intentional and very consistent. I was diagnosed as clinically depressed in 2001. 1998, I'm sorry. I was diagnosed as clinically depressed. It didn't make sense. I had been in a relationship, I was engaged to get married, and my fiance, who I did not know at the time, was bipolar. And he'd stopped taking his medicines and under the belief system that love can cure anything. And so I ended up being picked up and thrown 3 feet across the room, and I ended up being choked until I passed out. And once I got out of that relationship, I just was different. It was different. So my mom insisted that I go to the doctor. I went to the doctor, and I sat on the table, and she checked me and talked to me and came back in with a prescription. And she said, Lisa, you're clinically depressed. And I felt like I heard Charlie Brown's parents talking like, wah, 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 wah. Clinically depressed, at least, that'll make sense in that same sentence. And she handed me a prescription, and I read the prescription, it had my name on it, and it said Prozac. And I thought, that don't make sense. Lisa Nichols, that don't make sense. And I said, do you mean I'm sad? She said, very, very sad. I said, can I try something? And I'm not recommending you guys, if you're on medication, you stop taking your meds, please don't do that. I asked my doctor, she agreed. I said, do you mind if I try something before I take this? She goes, yes, but I need to see you back in 30 days. If you're in the same condition, I need us to try this medicine. I said, okay, I could do that. So I went home, and every day I got in the mirror, and I drilled, I am, every day. Because I realized I had forgotten who I was. I just forgot. And it was okay to forget. I just forgot. So every day for 25 minutes, I just went over the I ams. Every day, I am. And then I paralleled that with I forgive you for, Then I paralleled that what I commit to you, Lisa, every single day. I went back in 30 days, and I'm talking to her, and I'm on fire. She's just looking at me. And I'm just talking. She twisted her head again, and I'm just talking. She says, wait, I got to stop you. I said, what? She goes, what are you taking, and can I have some? I was like, I'm taking some of me. And so the power of I am can pull you through the darkest moment, the power of I am.
Success is personally defined by everyone. And as you're creating success, create holistic success. My biggest successes are the things that people don't even see. It's the fact that my 14-year-old son calls me his best friend to his friends. That's bigger than any book deal that you can give me. That's bigger than sitting across from Larry King or beside Oprah, that my 14-year-old son calls me his best friend. Creating holistic success is really important.
Let me tell you, in order to have something different, you are going to have to do something different. In order to have something more, you have to do something you haven't done yet. I had to say the things I didn't want to say, do the things I didn't feel like doing to have the life I know I wanted. Period. And all I did was give instructions for here, do this bite size, do this bite size, do this bite size. Bite size, digestible, palatable pieces of what you can do. Does that sound good, you guys? And when you look up, and you don't have to have a magnificent change over 12 months, have a small change over 30 days, and then a small change over 30 days, your breakthrough will come in needlepoint moves. And you'll look up in 5 years and not recognize your life.
What's been your biggest accomplishment, you think?
Bouncing back, number one, is refusing to listen to the negative chatter in my own head, refusing to listen to other people's perception of me, creating something from absolutely nothing. So I got to, there's the books, there's the TV, there's all that stuff. But my biggest accomplishment is being willing to give myself 1,000 second chances. And every time I got to 999, I pressed reset.
Yeah.
I didn't ask permission, I gave notice. Yeah. At some point, I have to stop asking, can I be great? Can I be brilliant? Can I be okay and still be accepted? I just stopped asking permission and just gave notice unapologetically, and not in a braggadocious way, not in a way that shrunk anyone else, in a way that said, I only got one life, and I'm going to ride this one till the wheels fall off. And then all the other stuff came.
Wow.
As a result of a decision I made.
Right, but it was a decision.
It was a decision, but it didn't come from, a motivational experience. It didn't come from an inspiring teacher. It came from hitting rock bottom.
There's so much value in what you unlearn. Sometimes the best thing you can do is unlearn some things. We're always going after learning something new because we're information junkies, because we have all these forms of information coming at us on the internet, coming at us in books, coming at us on the radio, coming at us in television, that we want to learn. But sometimes your biggest breakthrough is in what you unlearn. And then you relearn. Sometimes you have to disrupt your soil, pull your soil up, take that dry dirt that's been planted for years. I know, I've just been knowing this for years. This is what my mother taught me. This is what we've always known. You have to disrupt that soil in order to plant a new seed to grow a new fruit. Yeah? You guys got that? And so I came very comfortably to disrupt your soil. Like, that's what I came for, to disrupt your soil. Not to necessarily keep you comfortable in what you know. Stay comfortable in that. I want to disrupt you in some things that are new awareness to go, oh, wait, hold on. Or new awareness about what you've been doing based on what you've known forever that doesn't fit your future anymore. Because I can guarantee you, every single one of us who wants something different than what we're getting, we're doing something unconsciously from old patterns that doesn't even serve our future. That's when the tongue in your mouth and the tongue in your shoe are going in two totally different directions. And your job is to align them up so that you can move forward in a powerful way. Every single thing you touch is impacted by your story. As an attorney, as a teacher, as an architect, there's not one line of business that you can be in that a story, and a great story, won't elevate your outcome. Every single line of business, every single line of service that you're connected to will be impacted and ideally elevated by the level in which you're willing to tell and share your story. So let me give you some guidelines, some parameters, what I like to call the bumper rails, as if you're going bowling. When I go bowling, I ask them to put the little bumper rails down so I can my ball can get down the lane. So let me set up some bumper rails for you so that you understand what makes a great story. So one is the willingness to take risk.
Most people, Vishen, when they're telling a story, they don't want to take a risk. So the story has its limits on how high it'll go or how deep it'll go. And when you have that, then you're really not at that part that's going to touch my soul. So being willing to take a risk, being clear and concise with your stories. A great story is a show me story, not a tell me story. Now, this is the distinction that's the game changer for most. Most people are telling a story. They say, so let me just share with you a little bit of my story, and I'll tell you and then I'll show you. So as I was building my life, there was a time in my life that was very difficult. It was very challenging. True story. Very difficult, very challenging, very uncomfortable. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of hope, and things just looked dismal. At some point, I had to turn my life around. At some point, I made the decision that life had to get better. I'm telling you that. It's decent. You learn. Then if I were to show you that story, I would say 6 days a week, I had to eat beanies and weenies. I had to find money in the crevices and the corners of my couch so that I can get my son milk. There were times when my heart would beat fast just at what am I going to have tomorrow? At some point, I got sick and tired of my own story. Is this going to be my future? No, I can't handle it. Notice the difference in that second story. Wow.
I completely see that.
I just painted a picture. Same story. Mm-hmm. Now, the second one, when you show a story, it's going to require more of you. It's going to require you to find the colors. What were you thinking? What were you experiencing? What was going on in your head? Instead of telling me you look for money, turn and point. Now, this is anywhere. This is anywhere you are doing anything. I promise you, you become a great storyteller and you will captivate your audience no matter what you're doing. I've captivated investors. I've captivated students. I've captivated educators because I was willing to show the story. I call it unpacking the story, Vishen. Being willing to tell me, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What were you seeing? Think about a story as an oral movie. And so in an oral movie, think when you're looking at a movie, the first thing they do is they identify what state of time it is. Is it futuristic? Is it in the now? Was it back in the day? You notice that based on what people are wearing, how they're talking. So paint that picture for me. Take me to that environment. Set the backdrop up for me. Show me what you're going through. Instead of saying I was angry, you can tell me you were angry, but when you say the hair on the back of my neck was standing up, I felt the fumes exiting my nose. I thought that my chest was going to pop and I was going to say something that I'd regret forever. Ooh, you just showed me you were angry. Take that extra time to unpack it. Why will most people not do that? Because it requires a level of vulnerability that we're not willing to share.
Myth number 2 is that abundance is singularly focused on possessions and money. Right? It's all about what you drive, what you live in, how much money you make. When in fact, this couldn't be further from the truth. Wealth is possessions and money. Abundance is a 360 experience. Abundance is a 360 experience. True abundance is your health, because if you don't have great health, life does not feel good. Abundance is relationship, and at the end of your life, literally, you will measure the quality of your life by the quality of the relationships you had. All the other stuff will fall away. That promotion you're thinking about, you're wondering about that raise, it will fall away in the area of importance when you get to the end of your life. You will begin to look at the quality of your relationships. How are your children relating to you? How are your siblings relating to you? Do you have love in your life? You literally will start looking at relationships at a higher level as you get older. So when you mind them now, you take care of them. And I know that for a fact. I have a friend who's worth $14 billion. Billion with a B. He was just partying at my house all night long, wouldn't leave, 4 a.m, go home. And he flew in from Canada to go to my New Year's party because he loves my family connection. And he doesn't have one. He is financially wealthy. He's relationship broke. Does that make sense? Abundance is a 360 experience. It's about relationships. It's about health. It's about your spiritual groundedness. That doesn't mean you have a religious origin. It's about, can you release? Can you forgive? Can you let go? Can you be still? Do you meditate? Do you have time with yourself? That has a lot to do with the quality of your life, that ability. And I have a message for you, a very important message. We live in a world where
Limiting beliefs and limited thinking is accepted. And in some environments, it's actually encouraged. Not to put anyone down or any institution down, but look at our educational system. It's bound by who you can be, who you can't be. We're taught that, as an academic excellence student, you are expected to achieve more pressures. But yet even inside that more, that higher achievement, there's still a limiting belief there. I look at my life today and it's barely recognizable. I'm grateful to say I have 6 bestsellers. I've sat with Oprah, with Larry King on CNN, Good Day LA. I've traveled all over the world, did work in Taipei and Africa and Kazakhstan. But that wasn't where I started. I started struggling for 12 years in the educational system, not thinking I was good enough. The word fail or not pass was threaded through every year in school in some area or another. And so I graduated or got out. I graduated, but what did I graduate to? I graduated more of who I think I might be able to be or who I couldn't be, but not my possibility. I look up, and for the first 10, 15 years of my adulthood, I struggled. I struggled because I didn't dream big enough at that time. I didn't know. I felt like my dreams were covered and smothered with the cultural limitations. We're defined by who our parents were, what our culture can do, what our community can do. So you look at all the areas of our lives, financially, mentally, emotionally, family, geographically, and all of those things kind of put us in a box. And some of our boxes are this big, so we think they're amazing. Some of them are this big and we know they're choking the life out of us. The reality is we're trained to be realistic, to be logical, to stay practical. And there's nothing realistic and logical about Steve Jobs and his journey. There's nothing realistic and logical about Dr. Martin Luther King and his willingness to be radical for a change that none of us saw coming. There's nothing realistic about Nelson Mandela leaving prison after 27 years and leading the largest forgiveness movement ever. There's nothing realistic and logical about even my journey. Born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, having 3 fights a week just to get home from school, being told that I was the weakest writer my teacher had ever met and that I should never speak in public by my speech teacher, to looking at my life today and going on and having a child before I got married and getting on government's assistance just to feed my baby, not having money to buy him Pampers, and wrapping my son in a towel for 3 days until I can afford to get money to buy him Pampers. I look at my life and I wasn't supposed to be who I am today. Something turned, but it didn't come from outside. It didn't come from my culture or my community. It came from within. Who I was committed to transforming my life into just didn't fit. It didn't fit realistic. It didn't fit practical, and it didn't fit logical. I didn't know how I was going to get there. There were no examples of how I would get there. There was no instructions. There was no GPS. And there wasn't even anyone around me that had an idea of how to help me. All there was my intuition, my internal GPS, my internal God placement system, and the will and the desire and the big dream inside my belly. And I was willing to keep at it until I birthed something greater than myself. In order to live the life you love and love the life you live, you have to be willing to step on the other side of normal, on the other side of where people give you permission to step. You have to be willing.
Man, that was epic. We went a little long today because it was so fire. So let's get some quick takeaways. Rox, give us one. I'll give one, and then we'll get 2 from the callers in. What you got?
Okay. Man, that was just so epic. I think the biggest takeaway was, if I'm going to just give one, I love the really ending of it. She talked about dreaming big. She talked about her life and experience and how her life now is so unrecognizable even to herself. So I think for me that was the biggest takeaway, is just like to dream so big and to not be realistic and to be logical, because that's going to prevent you from living the life that you deserve to live. She says, we only have one life to live, like live it till the wheels fall off, and really look at the own limitations that you place upon yourself. You know, because if you notice that her change, she said it didn't come from outside, it came from within. And for me, that was the biggest takeaway. And I love how she says, she's like, you got to commit yourself to transforming who it is that you want to be. You know, it's going to be a 360-degree shift. It's going to be internal and external transformation. But what are you committed to doing in order for you to be able to achieve? So that was my biggest takeaway.
Love that. For me, biggest takeaway, I'm going to just give one. Stop asking permission. Give notice. You know, biggest thing that's always helped me in finding success is don't ask permission, ask forgiveness. Doing, because the world is malleable, meaning that there's no real rules out here. Everything is man-made that you see in the world. All the laws, all the things, anything other than like gravity and laws of physics, everything else is made by man, meaning that you get to create because you are a creator. So create as you want to. Don't create as others tell you you can. And in doing that, you get to give yourself 1,000 second chances. You know, she said, and when I got to 999, I just reset it. Like, give yourself 1,000 second chances, because what if that's just a part of your story? What if you getting up the 1,003rd time was just how your story was meant to be? Because that's created in you who you were meant to be. But you got to be willing to give yourself second chance, get back up, never stopping, because you get to create who you are. So I really love that. Don't ask permission. Give notice of your greatness, of your achievements, of your goals. All right, so let's get 2 calls from the sharing line. Let's get Emily. I'm excited to see Emily on here. What do you got for us, Emily? Go ahead and hit him with it. I unmuted you.
Hi, guys. So from the video, I took, you can always build yourself back up. So from the lowest point in life, well, in her case, with her kids and stuff, well, her kid, she could always build it back up. She was successful. And then I also did show me, not tell me. So in my case, so many people know that I'm on Herbalife, and I need to show myself first. So my goal this summer was to lose 20 pounds.
Let's get it.
I'm 5 pounds in, down 5. So it's been about almost 2 weeks.
Nice.
So that was awesome. And so I am right now showing before I could help others.
There you go. Love it. Thank you so much. You're killing it, Emily. Love it. Love it. Susie, are you able to share? You look like you got a free moment. You're unmuted.
Yes, I'm able to share. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I love Lisa. You know, I got to see her live when she came down to Tony Robbins, and she's just fire. She always fires me up. But what I took from the video, one of the takeaways that, you know, I got was the best thing that I can do is not stay here with you guys, when she's talking about not behind. That's something that I struggle with. Sometimes, like, you feel like you're successful and you kind of feel like at fault for it, you know, because then you see your friends stuck in the same place. So like me even going to STS this weekend, I kept thinking of, like, who can this benefit? You know, you always hear people trying to find time. You know, there's different things that Herbalife helps. It's not just to lose weight. You know, it helps you, you know, that financial freedom that can eventually give you that time freedom as well. So I'm listening to all the clues and everything my friends are now saying, you know, that I could see how Herbalife could help them, you know. So I'm making it about, you know, how can I help them not be stuck in the same place? But, you know, most definitely the best thing I could have done for them, I feel, is me not be stuck in that same place. So
nice. Epic. Love it. Great share, Susie. Glad you were able to share today. Awesome, you guys. Epic Triple M today. We're going to upload this. Share the link to all your friends and family on your social media. Get this energy and motivation out to everybody. And make sure you tune in every Monday. You guys are consistent on the live and on the viewer. You know, we're always here, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And for everybody watching the recording, thank you guys. We get to start this together, and I'm so excited. Remember, Wednesday, we got the Herbalife Power Call. We're working on our guest speaker sharing her amazing and his amazing results, transformation, favorite Herbalife products, and tips on how to use them with a live Q&A. Remember, that's this Wednesday at 6 o'clock West Coast, 9 o'clock East Coast. Let's get it. Happy Monday. I'm going to take everybody off mute. Where that energy at?
All right.
Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday.